and gentlemen, you're listening to yet another episode of Rogan Radio live from the friendly confines of Studio A here on the luxurious ranch of Casa, the Rogan Lumber Report.
Do you feel? Have you decompressed? Are you feeling better
Listen,
now?
what you did
Like how he
you
turns
get your
that on,
zen?
you know, he's like, hey, everybody, welcome to the Friendly Confines.
Yeah, I know,
This is
right?
what you didn't see. Listen, I'm going to try not to cuss because I
It's
haven't.
okay, man.
I have not had an episode like this for a while. I used to have them all the time. It's been a long time.
And it really has.
And this really even wasn't your worst.
yeah, this
episode.
wasn't a bad one.
This was just a teaser.
Right.
So I'm not sure what happens. I run these. We noticed last week during the opening thing the audio cutting out, right? And I was like, "What the shit is this all about?" Because stuff like that just burns my ass.
Yeah.
If it's not perfect, it burns my ass. So then, I know. So then it happens again this time. It happens again this week. And I did tests today and ran all these stress tests on
all
this
kinds
thing.
of tests.
And you know what happened?
Yep.
It did it again.
Yep.
Even worse.
It was worse
worked
this time.
fine
Yeah.
during the stress
Sucks to
test.
be you, Chuck
And then
Rogan.
and then once we get here, it's okay.
That's it. Start from scratch, redo it all.
I'm just going to tear all this shit out of here and be done with it. Ladies and gentlemen, hey, how you
Bullshit.
doing? How you doing? Hey, listen, we have a fantastic show tonight. Here's what we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about, because what I read today spurs, I have all these things throughout the week that we want to talk about, right?
And we don't get to know
then we
her-
forget
We never
every-
get to
we
any of
forget
them.
all of them.
No, we never get to any of them. But then today I started reading about this interesting article about this couple that went to the hospital. It was over, we're going to talk about it here in a
To
second.
have a baby?
To have
Yeah.
a baby.
Oh, I was right.
So what happened was they went to the hospital.
I know couples don't go to the hospital together unless they're having a baby.
So, yeah, really. So what happened was they go to the hospital. Hospital says, "Hey, listen, you're okay. You're just a little constipated." They didn't say that, but they said you're
Right.
okay. You're not in labor. She goes home, gets into the bathtub, has a baby.
Woo!
So she's a little pissed off. So then that brings me up to the last story a
Rub-a-dub-dub,
couple
3
weeks
men
ago.
in a tub.
Rub-a-dub. Yeah, three now.
So she had
3.
twins.
Yeah.
So-
So
Rub-a-dub-dub,
they're
mom,
all
dad,
in
new
the
baby in
tub.
the tub.
Well, the dad's going to help deliver the baby, so they're all in the tub. Everybody's in the tub together. Family time.
Okay now.
That's a big
Good
tub.
quality
then.
family time.
That's a big tub.
Quality family time.
So then I started reading another story that we didn't get to a couple weeks ago, talking about the lady that had the baby in the Big Mac. We're going to get both of those stories today. But what I found very interesting, because then I start going to these things, how many people die every second around the world? Now, this is the entire population of the world. How many people die every second?
What is the population now?
Oh, hell, I don't know.
7 billion?
Almost
7
trillion.
Alexa,
So
Oh, yeah,
billions.
that's
billion.
what is the population of the planet?
According to the U.S. Census Bureau, the world population today is approximately 7.61 billion.
It's a lot.
That's a lot of people.
Thank you
man.
very
Yeah.
Yeah.
So how many people die every single second?
Wow.
Like, bang, somebody just died.
Yeah.
Or how many people just died?
10,000.
Ask.
Are you asking, or is this? Are you going to talk?
1.8. Now, the average is like, you have the 8.
Yeah,
that would be
yeah.
like,
1.8
So basically 2 people
million?
a second.
about 2 people a
1.8
second.
people per second.
Yeah.
Yeah, 2 people a second.
2 people a
basically.
second. So bang,
Oh,
2 people just died.
Jesus, we better start praying.
So anyway, how many people?
I mean, a second's going by every second.
Bang, 2 people
we
just
need
died.
to thin out in
You
here.
just listen. 2 people.
Daggone it.
Listen, there's 2 more.
Hold on to my beer.
2 more.
Hold on to your boobs.
My beer.
Oh,
Hey, watch
You
yourself.
said boobs too.
So anyway, now how many people are born every second around the planet?
Good question.
How many
Yeah.
people are born every second? You
That's
had
a good
That's
2.
going to change, though, all the time, too.
On average. This is average.
I'd say
What is it now?
1.9.
1.9. What? Where?
Guess
Jimmy said.
2.5.
Jimmy said,
Every
"Where's it
second,
at?" How about
3.
the world? How about
yeah. the
2.5.
2.5?
I'm saying 3.
3. Anybody? Keep going.
I'm not saying because I kind of heard this conversation
Okay, yeah.
earlier.
4. There are 4
Really?
people born every second. Now, here's the crazy part. How many?
Wow.
So we're doubling
So
every
we're
second.
definitely-
So they're
Yeah.
replacing us. These
Now,
new
listen to
babies
this
are coming
stuff.
and taking us out.
Because we're all about statistics here. In the
Yeah.
United States, there is 1 person born every 8 seconds. All right? Every 8 seconds in the United States, somebody is born. In India, where they have every year new people, 15.5 million new people born every year, 2 people every single second.
No
Are
wonder
they
they
really
come up with the
born?
Kama Sutra.
15.
Or they, 'cause see, they don't die in India. They are reincarnated.
Well, you know what?
Yeah.
That's true. They might have 30 million people. If you got 2, I don't know.
So
how many people.
my thing is,
they don't have
how
good
much,
cable over there either.
No, there's
Yeah,
nothing else
right.
to do.
How much would that have changed? Like, say back in the baby boomers,
Yeah.
maybe they were having, 5
Well,
kids a second, and
yeah.
only 1 person was dying a second.
Yeah,
you know what I
that's
mean?
true. Yeah.
So I bet that changes a lot. Like, think about
Oh, I
today's
bet it
generation.
does, yeah.
There's a lot of people not having 5 and 6 kids like they used to. You
Can't
know what
afford
I mean?
it.
I
Some
tried.
people are like, I ain't having any kids. Yeah.
I had 4.
Cannot afford
You practice a lot, don't you?
Yeah.
Perverts.
That's funny. But yeah, so that's an interesting statistic. And we're going to get to that. We'll also have some interesting things to talk about UFOs. You know what? The Navy actually came out and said, and I don't know if you've seen these videos yet on YouTube where the F-18 pilots actually captured these things, and then they weren't meant to get out to the public, but somehow they did because the world's a leaky place these days.
Imagine that.
Well, they come out.
my pants.
So we're going to talk about that
Captured
story.
as in like got them or just filmed them?
They were chasing them in the F-18s.
You're
They were
having
chasing
leakage?
Who's having leakage? What?
What'd you say?
Me?
Well, you know, on the new, on those always, you know, the women's sanitary napkins. There's not a picture of a woman on there anymore, so I can use them now too.
Yeah.
Well,
They're for
you
both
have at
genders.
it, Todd. You
All
want
right.
some? You could borrow some off me.
Do you have it with the? Does it got
No. No. Let's move on. Who do we got on here
Peanut
today?
butter.
He bleeds out his butthole.
Once again, once the show is over with, if you
Crystal
would
Lewis,
if you
Chuck.
would leave a nice review, we
Crystal
would really
Lewis.
appreciate that.
Butthole bleeding.
Mike Salerno's on here.
Joy Knight, Todd Hall jumped on too.
Where are you bleeding at? Where are you bleeding at?
What are you talking about?
I don't know. I'm just
Talking
going
about
off the
Todd bleeding
Todd.
out his butthole.
Stop it.
That's what he needs always.
Nobody else leaks in here but me.
You have leakage. Todd has leakage.
I got a leaky valve.
Jimmy Whiz in his pants.
Chuck told me one time, he said, no matter how much you shake and dance, the last 2 drops stay in your pants.
And that's true.
Or on the floor.
That's true.
Or wherever. Or on the toilet seat, you know.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Vicky
That would be
McBeck.
true.
Vicky McBeck joined on here.
Hello,
I told
Vicky.
you Crystal Lewis.
Hello, Crystal.
Michelle Rogan, for
Oh.
some reason.
Wow.
There's Cindy. Cindy's on here.
Carol Miller.
I hear
Top
she's a
fan.
hot.
Oh, that's right.
Oh, there's
My
my,
wife.
dad.
Lori
Hello, Dr. Jack.
Fontaine.
Cindy Hardman.
Lori Fontanez, hello. We need to have Lori back.
Pam Kirby.
She has a hey, Pam Kirby. Hello.
Hey, Pam
Shut
Kirby.
up. That's my Mel Tillis tribute.
My mommy's on here. Hi, mommy.
Hello, Sandy.
Better be good.
Is she
Better
got
be
another,
good.
does she have another book out? Lori?
Lori, she just had, I think she's in the process of either she just released one not too long ago, which means in my mind about 3 months ago probably. Yeah. She'll say, Lori, tell us the name of your
Well, we need
latest
to
book."
we need to get
Sex
her back
novels.
on here. Get her back on here.
Sex novels? Jimmy, she's a horror. She likes to write horror.
Yeah. What'd you say?
they're like paranormal.
Hi, Carol.
geez.
Carol jumped back on there.
Hello, Carol.
Hi, Carol.
My cousin Eric is on here. Chris Hines is
In
on
other
here.
words, scary.
Scary books sort of things. Yeah.
She
Yeah.
writes horror books.
Hey,
I have
funny.
no females to
Wayne
back
Worth
me
just
up
jumped
tonight.
on.
Did we say Dr. Hall?
Wayne
Did we say Dr. Hall's on?
Dr.
Dr. Hall,
Hall.
yeah,
Dr.
yeah.
Hall's in the house.
Now listen to this. Before we get into anything else, do you have chronic heartburn, or do you occasionally get heartburn from things that you'll eat? Like
Occasionally.
That's because we're old.
Occasionally.
I do.
me, dude, you just get it from just whenever you get heartburn.
Yeah.
See,
Yeah,
my trigger is Coke, and I drank a Coke today, and you know what? Bang! I'll get it every time
Isn't
for
that
whatever
weird
reason.
how certain things.
I can
Certain,
drink-
smells ever give you heartburn?
When you shit your pants, most certainly it gives me heartburn.
It gives him heartburn because he starts puking.
But here's the crazy
Yep.
thing, though. I can eat right before I go to bed. Literally eat right before I go to bed.
Yeah.
Never have a problem. I drink a Coke like I did today.
Because of acidity.
You
of
see, I can
something.
eat hot
Now, he can
peppers
drink-
or anything like that. I can eat them all day long and be fine.
Yeah.
But let me eat a pizza or a hot dog with chili or something.
Yeah.
You know, tomato sauce.
It's
I'm done.
crazy.
It just tears me clear up.
Yeah, acid.
That is nuts. But listen, we also had the
Sucks to be old.
listen, we wanted to also remind you about the turkey trot. That's coming up. Listen, I didn't
yeah,
realize.
yeah,
yes,
that
yes,
is
yes,
good. That's-
yes.
Yep.
I did not realize how close. I mean, this year has been flying by, and you know we're
Quickly.
already on the
Not this Friday,
16th,
next Friday.
17th of November.
17th.
17th right now.
I
We're
didn't-
in the third week of November.
It just seems like it was.
Way there.
It just seems like it was Halloween not too long ago. But anyway, on Thanksgiving morning, as always, over in Shinson, there's a 5K run. All the stuff benefits the Marie Gaston 4-H Scholarship Fund. That's cool. It's Shinston, West Virginia Turkey Trot or Turkey Trot West Virginia. Somebody.
I'll get a
find
link.
that. I
I'll get a
can't-
link. I'll get a
But
link.
check that out. They also have a Facebook page, and it's going to be. They got the record, I believe, last year. They were trying to break that 1,000, and this is going to be no exception this year. It's always a good time. It's on Thanksgiving morning down in Shinson. You can get all your Turkey Trot Shinston, something like that. Todd will
Yeah,
find it.
run or walk, either way.
Yeah. Do it on the Google, man. Okay, so anyway, with
I'm
that
going
said,
to have to miss that one this year because I screwed up and signed
Yeah.
up for the holidays. So
out of all the things I wrote down, listen, I did all kinds of show prep today, and the one thing I didn't write down is the turkey trot thing, and nobody still gave me an answer yet. So, Shinson Turkey Trot, check that out. Thanksgiving morning. Registration's still going on, of course. You can do that. Check it out on Facebook. And it's ShinstonTurkeyTrot.com.
Thank you.
You can go ahead and quit typing on your speaking spell, Jimmy. Jimmy had a birthday. How old are you now,
Oh,
Jimbo?
yeah. Happy birthday, buddy.
He's old as
25, brother.
You ain't
25.
He's
No
real.
wonder you still have a little peach fuzz down there.
I'm not the oldest in the room anymore.
I passed you up, huh?
Yeah.
So one thing I've noticed about Jimmy, especially on his birthday, he puts a bunch of birthday photos up, right? They were all, oh, you and your Disney stuff. You're out there. But now this is...
Disney Plus.
I'm just joking. I like saying...
Disney Plus.
Speaking of that, we're going to talk about the Mandalorian too. Pretty soon.
baby.
Bruce Hornsby. I love the Mandalorian Road that Bruce
No,
Hornsby
Chuck,
did.
no. That's not it. That's not the song
He lost me.
Mandalorian Road. It's not it.
Mandolin Road.
Mandalorian.
So anyway,
That's pretty funny, though.
when you post pictures on Facebook, you expect to get some kind of a reaction out of them, or you.
Well,
you
that's what
hope you do.
Facebook's for
Right.
attention.
Instagram now. Now listen, and when we found this out with the band, I find kind of funny, and I want to know what you think, even in the audience out there. What's going to happen? Because Instagram right now, they're phasing out like the hearts or the likes or whatever they do that. I'm not an Instagrammer,
I'm not either.
but Facebook, who owns Instagram, and they've been threatening to do this with Facebook also, they're taking away the likes and the views of stuff. Now, you'll still be able to see it, but no
Personally.
one else can.
Right.
So you can put something up because they don't want the competition.
Is
about
it
bullying,
just
I
me,
think.
or can anybody else see the indoctrination that Facebook is doing?
Oh, it most certainly does. Sure, it
all
does.
this social media is doing the indoctrination. They're leading you to where they basically want you to believe.
Well, sure.
You know what I'm saying?
The Hidden Nightly News does that also.
Because
I
if
mean,
you post anything that's against that, they block it or put you in Facebook jail.
YouTube's notorious for that.
yeah.
YouTube's notorious for that also. I just got a.
I'm so sick of it all.
Yeah,
I'm
well, you
tired
have
of
to be.
all of it.
Well, that's what you have to take it for what it is.
Yeah.
You know, and you can't believe anything. Abraham Lincoln said you can believe everything you see on the internet. I'm not necessarily sure if I believe that or not.
Yeah.
Speaking of that, we actually found out who actually killed Abraham Lincoln. Who? It wasn't James Booth. It wasn't that dude.
James Wilkes
Dr.
Booth.
Mudd.
Yeah, it wasn't that guy. We have the actual story, and he just turned himself in.
Yeah, James Wilkes Booth, right?
Yeah, and he just turned himself in, believe it
Didn't
or
sound
not.
right.
You know who Abraham Lincoln was, Michelle?
Yes.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure.
He's
Just
on the-
wanted to make sure.
he's on the
He's a
$10
vampire slayer from way back.
Yeah, he's the mascot for Lincoln High School.
Yeah.
No, he's
Yeah.
not. No, he's not.
Lincoln.
Yeah,
That's
Abraham
where Lincoln's
Lincoln.
name.
But anyway,
Lincoln
let's get back to the
Hospital's
topic.
named after him.
So,
Yeah.
No, it's not.
so when you get to it, Instagram's starting to phase out the likes. Now, when it comes to Facebook, they're going to start taking out the likes and the views, which we noticed the weekend we put the senior stuff up. For 2 days after we put the senior stuff up, nothing registered. It showed me who was actually, how many times it was shared and all this stuff. But as far as views go, if you go and look at this video, normally there are like 12, 13,000 views. But on this particular video, I think it's 1,000 because for the first 2 days, it didn't count.
Yeah.
So you can see where they're starting to work this stuff out. So then the question comes about, if you grew up with all this likes and all this narcissist stuff that you have in your blood, narcissism, which you do.
Narcissist.
I'm not.
Everybody
I'm
likes
not.
that. Of course you are. Or you wouldn't put all these pictures of yourself like
Is
sitting
that
in front of a
sexual?
dinner table like this thinking
You saw
somebody's
it? Did
going
you
to
like it? Did you like it?
it. See what I mean? See?
You didn't like it?
I liked it. Of course I liked it. Anything
yeah.
that-
The one at
I was
the
still-
Asian meal.
Yeah, it was a Dave and
What-
Buster's. Never ate
what-
there before. It's pretty good.
Was it
I was
good?
trying to
Yeah, it was
figure
Dave
really
and Buster's is Asian.
say,
Well, we had an appetizer.
There was an
racist.
Asian at Dave and Buster's.
Dave
there
and
was.
Buster, they're not Asian.
No.
How do you know?
Well, Bruce. doesn't-
They're probably illegals.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, they're
they're
illegal.
from Peru.
They're
What were
not-
you saying,
Yeah, they
Chad?
just got funny
I was
sounding
trying to
names.
figure out the one that Vicky posted. This handsome
Yeah.
guy. I was trying to figure out where the handsome guy was.
No, it
Oh,
was
I saw
Taking a
Saul.
picture.
No.
Yeah.
It was me.
We're trying to figure out who the handsome guy was.
It was me.
I was too busy looking at what's on the dish.
Yeah. It was really good too, Bruce.
But be
So
looking
I
for
noticed with
for
the
that.
Facebook. I noticed with the Facebook the last couple of days, man. I've been getting a slew of like Facebook friend requests and things from people that I thought I was friends with or wasn't.
know.
Yeah,
And I'm
exactly.
like, what the heck?
Well,
Yeah, that's another
crazy.
thing to talk about.
Well-
Why is it that you end up with people that, and both of you are asking, like, well, I thought we were friends.
Well, if
And
you
I was like, well, I did too.
Well,
Well, the
you know what I mean?
reverse. It's
well,
like
and I'll
people
take,
disappear too.
Well,
off your friends list.
I'll tell you this happens also. Is that
Human trafficking.
You will have people that do these apps and do all this other stuff on the Facebook. Well, they get their accounts hijacked, right? And then you see all this stuff. I've never had mine because I don't do all this app stuff that gives it permission to see all my junk. But
Oh, well, thank God.
only Pornhub gets that.
I'm glad.
So anyway,
Oh,
but
well,
you'll
maybe
see,
not.
you'll get a friend request from somebody that you think you're friends with. Okay, but if you scroll down through their timeline and you see they've made like 2 posts, okay, then you know that's not true. Then you go back and you do a search for that person, and you'll see they're right there the entire time. The problem with Facebook that I have is that you might have 3,000 friends and you only see like 20 of them.
Right.
That's the constant 20 that you interact with, the top 20, 25. And you won't see anybody else until you start, like if I make a conscious effort to go to somebody that I never look at their page, say like Todd's, for example. I'm going to use Todd's. I never look at his page. I never see shit from Todd. That's out of design.
all the time,
Yeah,
man.
who cares about
Now, Vicky's I do. That's why I see your stuff. But anyway, I'll go to Todd's page and I'll start liking stuff, and all of a sudden I start seeing Todd's stuff. Then I have to start.
So
going
it's
back
an
and unlike.
interaction kind of thing
Most
instead
certainly.
of everybody. Is it because the algorithm
The
can't
algorithm.
handle it?
Well, they
Because there's so many people. Like if you got 15,000 friends, if you go and look at everybody, if all that 15,000 shows up on your timeline, you'll never be caught up.
Well, that's sort of what they say. Now, you can set your timeline on Facebook to see everybody's post of your friends. Facebook, the default is to see the people who they think that you are the most interested
Basically,
in.
top stories.
I don't have that many friends, so I'm glad.
I'm your friend, dude.
You don't have any here.
Sort
I'm
of.
kind of your friend.
Kind of.
Kinda.
I'm still stuck on who's seeing Chuck's junk.
I've seen Chuck's junk.
Have
Chuck's
you?
junk is
Yes.
very impressive.
Who? Raise your hand in this room if you've seen Chuck's
Yeah.
junk. Holy tamale.
This weekend on ABC, check out Chuck's Junk, starting at 7:30 right after Monday Night Football.
Now, raise your hand if you see Michelle's junk.
They're on the online. They'll see that.
I didn't know who was going to do it.
Well, Jimmy was just
That
thinking
was
me.
the shadow I saw when I was peeing out back.
Oh, that's what it was, huh?
So anyway, we were talking about Abraham Lincoln earlier and how he was the founder of Lincoln
I
High
have a
School there in
dream.
Shinston. I was like,
Does he have a dream? Oh, that's Martin Luther King.
Yeah, that's
He's
my-
relative to Levi Shinhouse.
and strangely enough, I love his jeans. The Levi
Levi
Shin
Shin?
jeans, they're fantastic.
Yeah, Levi Shin.
Anyway, just the other day. Now, people are strange. People are absolutely strange.
Yeah.
Right? You never know.
Yeah, just look in
71-year-old,
this room.
71 Leroy Anderson. Okay, he walked into the FBI center in D.C. and turned himself in. Now, the reason he turned himself in is because he killed Abraham Lincoln. He's a time traveler.
He's a time traveling assassin.
He's in a CIA project called the Kronos Project that sends people through time and they kill certain people. He also killed Martin Luther King, Julius Caesar, and Gandhi, if you can believe that.
Well,
He didn't say
you know-
Jesus though.
Wow.
I would have drawn the line
Here's
at
the
that.
thing.
Yeah.
Well, since I just watched the movie Terminator, it's
Yeah.
technically the story kind of matches.
Maybe.
Maybe
But this
he-
guy's been going back in time between 1678 and 2239. He's
He-
been bouncing back and forth.
Listen,
like
you ever
boing, boing,
look
boing,
at those
boing.
YouTube videos where they go back? They go, look, proof that people go back in time, and they'll go back to different events, and they'll show people with like cell phones in their hands from like 1985, and they're like holding like an iPhone. And
Hey, I
stuff.
saw Back
like
to the
Forrest
Future.
Gump.
Like,
I saw it too.
yeah, Back to the Future. Look, it
I
happened.
listened to Cher growing up.
You turn back time.
If I could turn back time.
I didn't get that one.
I didn't either.
Pretty good one there.
I did, yeah.
Not very often.
Gosh.
Not very often. Not very often. The blonde outwits us.
Right. Yeah, that flew right over my
By the way,
head.
when we get
Sing it, Wiz, in our pants.
by the way, do you know why doctors? You know why doctors, and you know what, you got us on one, and I'm going to
What?
give you a compliment. You know why doctors
doctor.
smack babies' butts when they're born?
Make him cry, Chuck.
Nope, to knock the penis off of them, and that's only for the smart ones.
I don't get it.
You smack their butts, the penis falls off, and that's only for the smart ones. So
Is that what happened to you? Man, that doctor smacked you hard.
it falls off, Michelle.
Yeah.
Your
Oh, she's got me again. She's smart tonight.
Yeah,
Somehow-
she's on it tonight, buddy.
Somebody went inside and drank a can of Smart Ass. I'll tell you what, that's pretty good. You're on the ball
She
tonight.
drank that smart water, buddy.
But anyway,
That's Smarties left over from Trick or Treat.
Leroy Anderson, he was a time traveling assassin for 35 years, if you can believe that. And according to the FBI, once they did their investigation, because if somebody comes in and says they assassinated a president, you're obviously going to take great alarm to that. Now, granted, they said he's diagnosed with schizophrenia.
No way.
I wouldn't have guessed that.
Man.
I know it.
Maybe it was
Shocker.
true, though.
I always want to say something.
But
yeah.
like Bruce said, how would you know
Hide
if
the
it
truth.
wasn't?
Hide the truth.
You wouldn't know.
No, you would not
Just
know.
lock him up.
think everybody's crazy.
Yeah.
Look, back in the day, they locked you up for having all kinds of different things. Put
Listen,
you
you
down,
Oh yeah, there was all kinds.
put
of
you
stuff.
down in there and gave you lobotomies.
Now you want to get in. You want to get into a scary subject.
Yeah.
Get into mental health.
Oh, you could go
Back
down
in the day.
I could go down there and take Michelle down there and drop her off.
Yeah,
And she's there
because
forever.
She wouldn't, because she
Yeah.
wouldn't listen to you.
Yeah.
Because she
Yeah.
wouldn't cook your damn dinner.
Yeah. Maybe a
I
sandwich.
mean, just the stupid stuff that was considered a mental illness. I mean, masturbating too much was a mental illness.
I would be
Damn.
li-
Chuck would
they
be
put
done.
you in there.
I killed Lincoln.
But I mean, you know,
Just don't put me in a straitjacket. Just don't put me in a straitjacket. I can't reach my penis. Don't put me in a straitjacket.
I'm gonna
that,
die.
hey, that right
No,
there.
you have to remember a straight jacket's called because it's already tucked in there. It's a straight jacket.
Yours
So
would
it's
be a
not that big of a
homosexual
deal.
jacket.
we need to do a section on that, a show on
A
that,
section.
Mental health?
a section.
Sex.
Yeah, but I mean, as far as you know,
Conjunction,
what
your
what
function?
constituted mental health, deficiency in whatever era,
Yeah.
not listening to your husband or
Yeah.
just
think they should bring
different
it
things,
back.
you know what I'm saying?
Or
should
not
push it back.
listening to your wife.
It was.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
it'll
You
scare
put-
the hell
Turn
out
the
of you.
tables
It
on
does.
you, Chucky.
Then you
Yeah.
get put in that not so straight jacket.
Not so straight.
So,
Is that transgender jacket?
so you talk about how like Brucey was
Transgender
saying how Brucey was saying how he doesn't put anything past the government because the government is in the business of population control more than anything else. You can't
Sounds
have
like they
all
need to
these
be,
people.
man. With we're
I know.
So
growing
when
more
it-
than we're not.
We need
Well,
to thin out a little bit.
Okay,
Yeah.
you see where the topic's going tonight. All these
Thin
people
the
are
herd.
born. You have to kind of control population. So certain influential,
Exactly.
people that influence things. You send a time traveler back in time. You wax them or whatever. Have you ever heard of the Fermi paradox?
Is that like a
No.
bee?
That what that paradox means is that this is concerning aliens now. Okay, because the Navy just came out after all this F-18 stuff, and it's just getting exploding now. The one F-18 pilot that actually traced or chased an alien, and they have it on camera. Go to YouTube, put in Navy F-18 whatever, and you can see them actually chasing this. And there's been a lot of over the United States, actually, a lot of sightings lately. And it just so happens, if you want to see a UFO, I have the top 5 states that you can see a UFO in:
Oh, wow.
Washington State, Montana, Vermont, Alaska, and Maine. If you notice, they're all-
Damn, you rattled them off fast.
yeah,
bro. Like you had them written down.
the least likely states you'll ever see one: Texas, Georgia, Mississippi, Louisiana, and Alabama.
Alabama, John, or
That's
Jimmy,
the least-
or Jeff.
the
Evidently,
least-
they don't like warm weather.
They might not like warm weather.
They might.
Yeah,
That's
maybe
true.
they're cold blooded
They could be from Hoth.
or hot blooded.
Hot-blooded.
Yeah, hot blooded.
Where's West Virginia fall on that list? Do you know?
Listen, you wouldn't know. You wouldn't know an alien if you went outside and it's with a.
All you gotta do is
Yeah,
go to
good time,
Walmart.
Tom.
What are you talking
Yeah,
about?
no doubt, they're everywhere.
But the paradox actually says because there's no evidence means they don't exist. All right? That's what the paradox means. That if you don't see something, it doesn't exist. If something hasn't been proven to you. But they also say
Never seen Santa
if
Claus.
you go back and you start reading some of the history of how people saw aliens, what they described as aliens. Some say at one time Columbus, because when he came to South America, he didn't look like anybody
Right.
from South America. He was an alien. The Vikings, when they were coming over, they didn't look. God knows they didn't look at there, and he don't look like any of us. The dude, I'd be like, whoa, make a statue out of that guy. We better get down on our knees because he said to.
Wait a minute.
Hold on.
Wait, well.
Get on your knees, Chuck.
Chuck would want to get down on his knees, but
Yep.
But it is kind of
There we go.
crazy that there are these videos now. There are these videos. And the Navy actually came out and said, yes, there are UFOs, things we can't explain, things we chase, especially when they get near carrier groups. Because, aircraft carrier is kind of expensive. And then when you have all of your stuff as far as their defense goes or offensive weapons, you just don't have UFOs go flying around town like it's nobody's business, right?
They're gonna go after them.
So now all this stuff's coming out, and they're actually admitting, yeah, we don't know what some of this stuff is, which is kind of scary when you think about the world's most powerful military has no idea, have no idea what's in the air. Now I have a theory.
Because they're aliens.
I have sort of a theory about this. Is that if you were from Uranus
That's funny.
and you were flying here, you know what? You wouldn't care who saw you. So you could go down to an aircraft carrier. You could go downtown Clarksburg. It wouldn't
Where's
matter.
your anus?
It's right behind Planet Taint.
Got 2 big moons hanging right above it.
Yeah.
Next
Must
to the
be a
hemorrhoid cluster.
Star Wars
Yeah.
planet.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
no.
basically it.
Hemorrhoid cluster.
gets hit by a lot of asteroids.
Most certainly it does.
Yeah.
Todd, have you ever seen Uranus?
If sometimes when I get real chaffed, I'll lay on the floor and lay on my back and take my legs and pull, and then I'll take them and mirror. And
I didn't know you
Well,
were
how
into
does that?
yoga.
What's that have to do with Uranus?
You're in yoga.
Up in the sky, way far away.
I was talking
You have a
about.
telescope?
I was talking about my butthole.
No, you were. He was talking.
And the bleeding.
Tom was talking.
bleeding.
Yeah, bleeding, the leaking.
After,
Yes,
after
check
he
his
removes
leakage.
his sanitary pad,
Because they're
See
for
his
men.
anus.
They are for men and women now. Listen, let me tell you this real quick. Then we'll get back to aliens. My daughter had to go get her license renewed. Right? She turned 21. So there's when you go in there to get your new 21-year-old license.
Yeah.
You have, if you change your address, you have to check this box right here.
right?
If you change your last name, say you got married, and then you got to check this box. But there's also a box to check if you want to change your gender.
Are you serious right
Yes, I am very serious.
now? They added that to
Yes.
the application.
I can't
you can
wait till I
change
renew.
your gender.
So did she stay female?
Oh,
I think so.
I'm a meat waffle.
Whoa, that's making me hungry.
What's that?
But can you believe that? Go back to your alien story. I just thought that was really strange, man.
That is because
I
I
did-
can't wait to renew.
Listen, people pay good
Yeah.
money at the hospital to get their genders changed, and you can go to the DMV and do it for free.
Hell yeah.
Or for $56 or whatever Justice is
Yeah.
charging us now. It's
Right.
ridiculous.
You
can
Do
change
you
your
have to show
gender.
proof though?
I don't know what you
Drop
have to
trial
do.
right there, DMV.
How many people are going to go in there now? And this
Check
is
it
this,
out.
I mean, I have to show proof of my address, my name
Right.
change. I have to
I
show
know.
proof of so much stuff. So if I check mail, they better ask me for proof.
They want to see.
with about 20 documentations that follow that.
Gonna have to.
because
Gonna
every
have
time you go in there, you have to have everything.
Dude, I made
Gonna
it
have
all
to.
the way through there and had all the forms of my ID, and instead of mine's an avenue and
you
not
were
a
trying
street.
to change your gender?
No.
Oh.
Getting my license updated.
Not yet.
Not yet. Getting my license updated. I got all the way up to the one window, and she goes, "Oh, well, this says avenue, and one of yours says street." I'm like, "It's the water board. I don't know. They're the ones that screwed up, not me." We can't do it.
Really? You got through all that?
Exactly.
Are you
Come all the way
serious?
back.
Oh, they
Two
won't.
back, and I had to
different
find
street
something
address
that had
names.
the same, and not avenue. I had to
We've
find,
been
I
through
had to
that.
find something that had
It was
said
just
avenue,
avenue
not
and street.
Yep.
We sure have.
we went through that.
Oh,
We went through that because the address here has changed about 2 or 3 times
yeah.
because of the
'Cause
911 stuff.
911, right?
Yeah.
And so I had to go
Yeah.
down to get the utility changed, and then I had to get the city bill changed and
Right.
the gas bill changed and all this stuff because me walking in my federal uniform, it's not good enough.
Right.
Exactly.
You
Right.
know.
Well, then on top of it, with your homeowner's insurance, if you got the wrong address on there, even though the address was what you had at the time,
They probably won't pay for it, will they?
they won't pay for it. The home insurance will be like, well, no, you're saying that your address is this. We've got your address is this over here. So we covered this address
And how
over
many
here,
people
not this
think
one.
to
happened to me.
change that?
There's always loopholes
for
and
real.
everything.
Yeah,
Yeah,
because 911 changed it. You know what I mean? You know what I mean?
because you're used to it, and then if you do put a claim in with your homeowners, and they're supposed to be say like, wait,
Yeah.
this is 2 different
No,
houses.
you don't live here.
Yeah.
Stupid.
Well, you should have taken
So
over my
if
house
you
payment.
check that box, they better ask for proof.
Yeah.
Well, here's the thing that I want to know, and I think this is only fair. What if I want to go in and say neither? What if I want to go in and
yeah.
say?
Unspecified.
What if I want to say I don't want to say?
yeah.
Say it's you know
right-
for me to
it's
know and you to find out.
Discrimination.
For me to know and you to find out. Come check me, see what I am.
Personal.
If you can go in there and change it, if that that's hard for me to believe, but I guess it's obviously true. If I
Yep.
can go in and just go in there tomorrow and say I'm just a female, and then go next week and say I'm a male, and then go female, just go back and forth like that, then I should have the option to say I don't have to tell you what I am, because you're not asking me for any hard proof. You're asking me for what I think.
He said hard proof.
Yeah.
Anyway, back to the aliens. We got some good alien jokes for you, Don.
said
Check
hard.
these out. Why did the Martian throw beef on the asteroid?
Why'd the Martian throw beef on the asteroid?
He wanted a little meaty ore.
Get it? Meaty. Or hey, what kind of currency do aliens use?
No idea.
I'll tell you, Starbucks.
Oh,
Get it?
that's a good one.
Starbucks? Because
Oh, it's funny.
yes.
What's the alien's favorite place on a computer? I don't know. The space bar.
Oh yeah,
Space bar, that's a good one.
It is. It is. I like
What
it.
do farmers need to create crop circles? A protractor.
Get it? Pro.
Oh.
What is a Martian's favorite chocolate bar? A Mars bar. Nano.
What do aliens like to read? Comet books.
Comet.
Say comic.
What did the alien say to the cat? Meow. Take me to your litter.
What do you call an alien
yuck.
spaceship that goes from planet to planet to planet?
Oh no.
You a hoe?
UFO.
What do you get when you cross a kangaroo with an alien? A marsupial.
Marsupial.
What kind of currency do aliens use?
Here it comes.
What's
Chuck.
come?
Starbucks.
It's so nice you had to say it
Say
twice.
it.
I didn't hear it.
Congratulations to Darren.
I should have known by the,
Ding, ding,
I
ding,
should have
ding,
known
ding,
by the
ding,
look
ding,
you were
ding,
giving
ding,
me.
ding. When you heard Todd, he goes, "Go ahead, let him do it, man." So nice you had to say
I didn't.
it twice.
I didn't even hear it.
How do you
So
throw?
nice.
How do you throw a party for an alien? You have to plan it.
Oh, that's pretty neat. That's pretty slick.
Plan it. Here's an alien pickup line, Chuck. You want to hear this? Hi, I'm an alien, and my next mission is to go to Uranus.
Hey, Todd.
Yeah, that's right.
Todd,
Yes.
have you ever heard about the flying spaceship?
No.
Never mind, it's over your head.
Wow. Let me tell you a little story. One time, I
love the Jetsons.
I do too.
I
They're
had
really
a birthday, and this was I had Mrs. Sharp. This was second class, second grade. This is when you could hit kids in school because it was normal because they needed hits. They still do need hits.
You
But
mean
it
when
was
the
second
teacher
grade.
the teacher can hit the kid?
Right, Mrs.
Oh,
Sharp.
yeah.
So it was right after my birthday, December 7th, actually. And Mom made me this cake. They had like a little capsule on there and little spacemen with little plastic helmets and stuff. So I took it to school because it was always cool to take your Matchbox cars
Yep.
and like Army men or Star Wars, whatever.
baseball cards.
Something like that. It was always kind of cool to
Yep.
take. So we were like in between doing things in class, and I had my little spaceman, and I was making that sound. I was sitting at my desk, you know, like this. She jerked me out of that seat because she must have had misophonia.
Yeah,
She jerked me
did,
out of that seat,
Jim.
and paddled my ass. Listen, she ripped me right out of my seat the day after my birthday with stuff my mom gave me on my birthday cake and paddled my ass because I was playing with my little space guy going.
Miss Sharp, that was like first or second grade, wasn't
Second
it?
grade,
I got,
yeah.
I got in
Yeah.
trouble because I had a Matchbox car of the Dukes of Hazzard car,
Yeah.
and without even thinking about it, this is in the middle of class. I was playing with this thing, and all of a sudden I just popped off with the horn sound. Right in the middle of class, and everybody's looking at me. I'm like, "Oh crap! Yeah,
I'm
get to
gonna
the
pay
art
for that
room.
one.
Get to the art room."
Now I'll tell you what. Now this is kind of since we're talking about grade school. Well, if you're 9 years old, what grade are you in? Are you in school yet? Probably
Yeah.
first grade,
Yeah,
maybe.
because you
Second
start
or
you
third.
start kindergarten at
second or
5.
third.
We're in like
Third
fourth
grade.
grade.
Third
So,
or fourth.
yeah.
Third or fourth.
Yeah.
Now, what would I tell you if I told you a name and his name is Lawrence Simons, or Simmons, I should say? I don't know. If I said Lawrence Simons, would that even cross your brain? He's from Belgium, so you might know him, you might not know him. He's 9 years old.
Simon says.
In December, he is graduating with a BS degree from Endenhow University
Chuck has a lot of BS too.
Really?
in electrical engineering.
And he's
Nine.
At
No
9
way.
years old.
Are you sure his name's not Sheldon?
Yeah.
He might be an alien himself. But at 9 years old, the guy's graduating college with a BS degree in electrical engineering.
He can't be called a guy yet. He ain't even started thinking about puberty.
Listen,
Balls
and
didn't
then
even drop.
so what's his plans after this? To get his PhD. Check it out. It's
What, he going to be
absolutely
10 by
unreal.
the time he gets his PhD?
Listen, that's what Bruce was talking about. When you're a sponge like that, you're like a computer on legs, and this guy is one of those dudes that can do this stuff. Now he's going to get bored pretty easy because he's already an
You know what
electrical
I equate that
engineer.
to?
Yeah.
You know what I equate
He's not even
that
playing
to?
with Cowboys stuff yet.
That's like playing through the video game with cheats. You know,
Yeah.
you already beat the game. What the hell are you going to do with the rest of your life?
I mean, his actually.
You know what I mean?
Now, for whatever reason,
With the
though,
money that he's going to make any damn thing he wants.
listen,
man.
I'm going to talk to this guy when he's about
But he's
11
gotta get
years
bored
old.
quick.
I'm going to say, listen, I'm paying your student loans off for one, because
Yeah.
you can't be signing for no loans yet, so I know your parents have them. And two, you know what? Once you whip me up something on the stove, because he's not going to know any better. He's not going to know he's a genius.
Right.
You know?
Right.
He's 9 years old with a BS degree in electrical engineering.
What country was
Unreal.
that?
Belgium.
Wow.
What?
Yeah.
There's some smart boys
But what
over
his
there.
goal is now, what he wants to do now, you know, if you talk to this dude, if you talk to the professors and everything else, they say, listen, he just soaks it all in and he just understands it. He doesn't even have to try. He just does it. And then they ask him what he wants to do, and he wants to come up with some kind of a way to invent artificial organs. That's his gig. And if there's anybody on the planet that's going to be able to do this, it's going to be this 9-year-old. At 15, he's going to be making. Jimmy will finally have a male penis. Yeah, and it'll be due to a 15-year-old in Belgium.
Some
Wow.
15-year-old boy got you hard, baby.
I mean, if you want to think
Awkward silence like that.
Crickets.
But then moving on to Adelphi University. It's in New York. Okay.
Okay.
Now, there's a class that they have. One of the classes that they have, the college class, is called Life Unplugged. And what these kids have to do for a week, all right, for 1 week, they have to give up their cell phones. That's part of the class. And if you kind of know this, if you go into a class called Life Unplugged.
Yeah.
So anyhow, they just did this. They just passed this, or they just went through this week. And they go through, and these kids were crying. They didn't know what to do. They were distraught because they constantly have your cell phones. Look at any teenager, and they got their heads so far up their ass with their cell phones, they don't know to do anything else, right?
Yeah, especially when they're driving, Chuck.
Absolutely. So anyway, they have to give up their phones for a week. These kids, now listen to what they had to do. Listen to some of the complaints that they've came up with throughout the week. They had to go out and buy alarm clocks because they didn't have anything to wake them up.
True.
They had to ask directions or use a paper map to find where to go.
Good.
Another one. And how about this? They had to actually write. They had to actually write notes. Actually write notes. So a week goes by.
Kind of like us.
So a week, absolutely. So a week goes because I have to do that now. You
I
notice
mean, that's
yourself.
what we had to do growing up.
Well, I have to write notes now just so I don't forget stuff. That's why I have all this
Yeah,
stuff, or I'll just
yeah.
forget it for whatever reason. It goes in one ear and out the other. But anyhow, so a week goes by, and they start going to kids, come back. It's time to get your cell phone back. Guess what happens? The kids don't want them back. They do not. They're sad now that they're going to get their cell phones back because they said homework was 100% easier because they didn't have the distraction. They had much better relationships. They had much better interaction with people. They would maybe want a phone, but they would rather not have a smartphone, maybe just like a dumb phone, something that you could just like kind of text and talk, just like for the necessities or an emergency or something like that. They did not want the smartphone back because they realized at that point they were missing too much of their lives playing on the phone. And it was just making their life stressful.
Wow.
One of the big things was with social media, like what Darren was talking about earlier. They were so caught up in what other people were doing that they forgot about their own lives because of that phone. So then that week goes by. It's funny because they start out that they didn't know what to do, and I can't imagine. Take my phone. I mean, I'm starting to I've weaned myself off of it in the last few years, especially.
Well, like when you went on your cruise, you and Michelle on your cruise, you didn't.
It was
you
wonderful.
shut yours off, right?
It was wonderful.
We turned our phones off, and
Yeah.
they were in the safe. We locked them in the safe,
Right.
and they were there the entire week, and we loved it.
It was absolutely a blast not having that
We
stuff.
loved
Now, you know,
it.
here's the bad part about it, and Carol will testify because she does the same thing. We've got these certain games that we play or something like that.
Oh, here we go.
And you do this on the telephone. There's
Oh.
certain video
that's
games.
even
Oh, I
better.
thought he was gonna
Snapchat.
tell us.
Game.
I thought he was going to tell us something. Jeez.
But they have these daily things that you got to accomplish a certain thing each day to get the reward. No, that's
Tell us
wrong.
about it,
Come
Chad.
on, man. Tell us about it.
Tell us what you do.
The games you and Carol play on the phone.
I want to hear all your games.
Yeah, I know what they play. Naked Twister.
Oh.
Touch my
Yeah,
phone.
there's no board. There's no board with that one.
Touch my phone.
Let me hear
I like
your
to flick the
games.
spinner though.
Leave Jimmy out of this.
Ooh.
Hide the sausage.
Carol's looking for your anus.
I didn't know she was an astronomer.
No.
I
She's
didn't
gonna-
either, but we're finding out tonight.
Gonna be some pegging going on in that house.
No, I don't think so.
Pegging you. You don't peg your jeans?
Oh.
No.
How about a pogo stick?
Yeah.
Well, there's a stick of something.
Anyway, but I found that very interesting. Being enlightened right there, being very enlightened. I thought that was very interesting, but it doesn't necessarily surprise me too much because when you do get caught up in your phone, and we like when Todd brought up, we did away with that thing for a week, and we.
Yeah,
It was
it's
great.
gone.
Honestly.
And you just don't have that, it would be and there's people say, well, it's nice to have the camera aspect of it. Well, you know what? I would much rather actually have a camera than I would have a
Yeah.
cell phone with a camera. Just because it's a camera, I can't do anything else with it other than to take pictures. Because when you get that bleep and you want to say, I'm going to post this, I'm going to post this. The best thing that could happen for society actually is and come to think about it, going back to the very beginning of this show, if Instagram and Facebook if they do take likes and stuff off of there, because then you're not going to care. There's nothing to look at.
Right.
Because you're not
Right.
going to be so caught up in your own grandiose.
I don't even know why. Most of it, like the younger generation, they don't even use Facebook now.
They
It's all
don't.
apps
No,
and
not at
Erica
all.
told me today that's an old person
snaps
site.
and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, what killed Facebook was is
Yeah,
when
Snapchat and Instagram is.
it was teenagers were never designed to actually be on Facebook in the first place. It was all with college kids. That's how it all started. It was like an interactive. Then they opened it up for kids outside. At one time, if you were under 18, you couldn't even get on Facebook, and for the longest time. But then they realized what was great is when kids under 18 got on there, then all of a sudden the parents could check them out. So then they were like whoosh, off.
That's the only reason I got a Facebook originally.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Was to
me
keep
too.
up with the kids.
Yeah, I told my kids the
Yeah.
only reason they could have Facebook is if they was friends with me, and I had to create my own Facebook page at that point.
Right. Right. Because now they do all that
Because before that was
TikTok and
MySpace.
Snapchat and Instagram,
Yeah.
all this stupid
Where did
shit.
MySpace go?
It's still there.
It's still there.
No, here's
Is
a
it really?
Yeah.
Justin Timberlake
yeah.
bought that, didn't he?
I don't know.
MySpace. I don't know if he still owes
Yeah,
it.
when we were down at the beach back in a couple months ago, Cindy and I had gotten into that conversation with her daughter, Kaylin, and we tried to go back and find our old MySpace. Mine I couldn't get into because the email address I used then had been shut down because it got hacked. But Cindy she got back into hers and
Oh
everything.
my
It's pretty
gosh.
cool. And you get, the photos that you posted back then and everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're still there.
Because I mean, that
It's
was
all still there.
It was kind of like just like almost like a diary at that point.
Yeah,
Wasn't it
exactly.
Sort of like
Yeah.
what it was.
Yeah.
MySpace.
You
I
know,
never
I'm
got
just
into that.
impressed that you said all the maps like the right names. You know how you always like mix up names.
Yeah, I do get those right.
Snatch Chappin, whatever.
Snapchat. Listen, you just gave me a great idea. This is a world of entrepreneurs. We're in America, damn it. Yeah, Snatch Chat. You know what? Somebody get snatchchat.com.
There should be something like that, right?
You know what? That's exactly right. I already got
Oh,
the promo for it.
Somebody's got that.
Snatch Chap.
I've already got it. Get on Apple Play Google Store now and get your Snatch Chat. Take a picture of your private parts. It'll only show for 60 seconds. You'll love it. You might not like it. You might gross somebody out. It's Snatch Chat. Snatch Chat. Snatch Chat. Take all you want. Your parents will never know unless you're sending them to somebody else's parents, which you probably will because it's 2019. It's Snatch Chat.
Paid for by BlueWaffle.com.
Wow. I like that though. Snatch Chat.
Jeez.
Well,
Look at Carol.
Face slap.
Never did MySpace. My daughter hates face slap.
face slap.
Yeah, that's
Was that
what
a
they call it,
typo, or
face
was that-
slap.
Oh,
No,
that's what they call it?
that's what Juliana calls it, face slap.
Fake slap
Michelle actually likes it when I slap her face
Yeah.
with your hand.
with my lips.
No.
Smack your face with my lip, like
Yeah.
give a kiss. Yeah, yeah. Now speaking about love, we've been teasing this thing for a couple times now about babies. We started talking about that too at the very
Oh,
beginning.
you guys want to have a baby? You know, it's not too old to try.
It's never too
Hey,
old.
have you looked at me lately, Todd Beck?
You better not. You better say the right answer, buddy.
Yeah,
Very respectful, Mike.
very respectfully.
I'm a little old.
No.
Oh,
no.
yes.
30 is not old.
Listen to him.
Aw.
Listen, don't be
What a
getting.
great friend you
Listen,
are.
I got on Jimmy's and Mary's ass for all this love affair on the air. You guys are sure not going to do it.
Thanks for being a great friend, Todd.
Wink, wink.
I know it's hard to have a baby at 30.
It is.
It is
tough.
fun to
Right.
practice.
Hello, Vicky. What are you doing tonight? Todd's a little busy. Big Daddy's coming home. Anyway, this happened in Virginia.
She'll
We
leave
were
the
talking
light
about this a little bit earlier. Leanne, I'm going to say their last name. Leanne and Leo. She's 27. He's 29. They went to the Naval Medical Center in Portsmouth. Okay, because she's pregnant. He must be in the Navy. Maybe she's in the Navy. I don't know. You know what you call something long, hard, and full of semen? A submarine. Yeah. So anyway,
Oh,
she says.
I was trying to think of an answer.
Without getting Chuck jealous.
Shut up. So she says, I was
I'm
certain
really confused.
because but Jim.
Never
I'll
mind.
tell you.
Never mind.
I'll tell you
Never mind.
all.
Never
What
mind.
was
okay.
the question
It's
again?
okay.
Long, hard, and full of what?
Semen.
Navyman.
Semen.
Oh,
She says, I was certain we were just going to get admitted, right? She gets there, and she's been through all the classes. She's went through all the appointments. She knows all the signs. They said if you start having these contractions after so many minutes, listen, it's time to come, right? So they go. They go.
Wrong subject, Chuck.
They go.
Where'd they go?
So, but the thing is,
Bigger whoop, whoop, whoop
so
down the
she
hall.
goes. They go to the doctor and they check her out and they say, listen, you're only 2 centimeters dilated. You have to be 5, but go home. You're not even close. She's like this. She's thinking, talking Greek to me, what's the difference between 2 and 5 centimeters? I mean, you know what I mean?
3.
She goes home. She's feeling like junk. Thanks, sir, Count Dracula.
Well, you asked the question,
Count,
Jack.
what is the count called
Count-
on the Electric Avenue? What's that
You,
called?
you mean
The Count.
Sesame Street?
Sesame Street. Yeah.
The count.
The count.
Count.
Oh, okay.
You're thinking of the cereal guy.
Yeah, count Chocula.
So anyway, they go home and she's feeling like garbage because she's pregnant and she thinks in her brain
She's already
She's
dilated
in
to
labor.
2.
She's
Right.
in labor. That's why
So
she's
she gets into the bathtub and guess what happens? Guess what flops out?
a
A
baby.
whale.
Uterus.
A baby. Baby. And then her husband, what did he say here? I thought it was, people say the strangest things when they get interviewed, right? She said he slid out. I guess it was a boy. He slid out. I caught him and flipped. I wrapped him in a towel and handed him to her. Oh, so it was the husband that actually caught the
I
kid.
told you they were all
Yeah,
three
so
in the
it wasn't
bathtub
the Big
together.
Mac baby.
No, this is not the Big
Okay.
Mac baby.
Well,
no, this was the one.
Everybody thinks so now.
Oh no, this is no. But both the baby and the boy,
You know what?
everybody's
They
doing
just saved
good.
a heck of a lot of money back
Now the
then,
one
Mac.
Darren's talking
sweet
about.
potato.
Look at that big baby.
No, this is the one
No,
that we're
this is
talking
another
about.
story.
This is in this actually is in Kentucky, and she was in her and what are their names? They're
KY, Kentucky.
Brandy and
KY
Jaden.
jelly.
Brandy and Jaden. They were in a McDonald's, all right. And now the thing is, if you look at, I can't say that she wouldn't. Somehow she would have to know she was pregnant, but she claims that she did not know she was
She
pregnant.
was quite rotund.
So she goes, now listen, how much does she weigh here? Because look at her, she's pretty healthy. She's pretty healthy. She's pretty healthy.
Yeah, we'll go with the healthy.
She
Yeah,
weighs
she's-
200 Big Macs.
She's pretty healthy. And I was thinking today, I was like, how would you not know if you went to McDonald's and you ordered food? And because what happened was they went to McDonald's and she ate a lot of food and she started feeling kind of bad, right?
Hey, baby.
Exactly. She started feeling kind of bad. And I'm thinking, well, if you're like a couple hundred pounds, I'm a couple hundred pounds. Say if you're 400 or 500 pounds and you go to McDonald's and after they wheel you out of the van for you to get into McDonald's, how much do you have to eat before you're full? You know, I don't know. Is the stomach, what I don't know, and this would be great to ask the 9-year-old genius there from Belgium, is if you weigh 400 or 500 pounds, is your stomach bigger?
It has to be, right?
Oh, yeah.
Stretched
Or
out.
you just have a lot of fat on you?
That's like with the gastric bypass. They cut out, what is it, 2/3 of your stomach or something when they band it off.
Okay. Just
But
to
yeah,
kind of
because
control your appetite.
your stomach swells. I mean, it don't swell, it enlarges.
Okay. Well, this chick, she goes in there. She goes, now listen. She did not know she was pregnant. She's 23. Now, her husband, Jaden, he must see
100
something in her. She's 32. This is like watching This Is Us
100
stuff.
pounds.
He's 32. It's
100
2019. Who gives a shit? And let me tell you something. I don't know who that fat-ass chick is on This Is Us. Every time I see her, it's like, listen, you're a movie star or a TV star now. Go hit the gym or something.
Every time we watch
she gets
This
bigger
Is Us, you
and
have
bigger.
the
Be
same
bigger.
comment.
I'm like,
Listen.
my God, she's just
Am I the
gross.
only one that wants to know
paid
how
to
much
bigger.
that baby weighed?
Okay, well, I'm going to tell you.
I can't wait. Hey, wait, but because
The
we don't know.
suspense.
Do you know, Chad? You
No.
probably. Let's take a guess because we can all see
Well,
the picture.
okay,
That
well,
is
hold
a
on.
big ass kid,
Well,
man.
first of all, she goes, when they go in there, okay, back to the story. I'm getting a little sidetracked, obviously.
How'd that thing come out?
She said, I had just, now listen to what she ate. This is what I was asking. I had just eaten 6 Big Macs, 2 orders of large fries, a dozen chicken nuggets, and drank a 30-ounce soda, probably a Diet
That's just
Pepsi.
chicken a picture.
Oh, it's got to be that.
Yeah.
oh my god!
And-
What?
and
6
so-
Big Macs?
And so when she went into the bathroom because she didn't feel any better, she just thought that she was going to, in her words, take a dump. That was her words. I had just eaten 6
Well,
Big
she's
Macs,
pretty classy.
2 orders of large fries, a dozen chicken nuggets, and drank a 30-ounce soda. So I thought because I wasn't
She was
feeling
gonna
well, I was
take
just
a
going to take a
McDump.
dump.
Yeah,
That's
it was a
what
Diet
Yeah.
Coke, right?
Yeah, she was.
That's what I was thinking.
I mean, maybe that guy could still be nice and still be like, baby, why don't you just have 5 instead of 6?
Now this is awesome too. Now, just so happened you might be asking yourself, why was Jaden there? Why was Jaden there? That's her husband. He's 32. She's 23 for crying out loud. Well, he's a janitor there at the McDonald's. So it just so happened she went in
they
there
got a discount,
to get
that's
something
why.
to
I
eat. And
see
they,
now.
they were having lunch together. It was nice. She went
Oh,
to
so she got free food.
That makes a lot
Yeah,
of sense.
absolutely.
Listen, if I got free food, I'd eat 6 Big Macs too. It was free.
her biggest fear. No, listen, I'm just reading a lot of this. For
I
the
was
first
getting her
time.
order mixed up and only getting 5.
Brandy's biggest fear was the fact that she feared her baby might have some sort of injury from falling into the toilet bowl when she gave birth to him.
The toilet bowl at McDonald's.
Let me tell you something.
She was like, "Oh God, this Big Mac is
me
gonna
tell
come
you
out
something.
hard."
16 pounds.
At what point did she
Carol
realize
posted
that
on
that,
here
that
By the way-
dump was coming out the wrong
By
hole?
the way, 16-pound baby.
16
pounds.
That's a
16 pounds.
toddler.
Carol said,
yeah.
Carol
16
said, "Damn,
pounds.
that baby's a sack of taters."
sack of something. Sack of taters. So imagine this.
Wow.
Imagine your mom just kind of like doing her thing, not really even knowing that she was, hard to tell. You hear all this garbage that when you're pregnant, you don't eat chocolate, you don't smoke, you don't breathe, you don't do anything because it might hurt the baby. Well, this chick didn't even know she was pregnant. She just ate 16 Big Macs and 24 nuggets and some Diet Pepsi and all this other kind of junk.
And then she drops it in the soup bowl at McDonald's.
Drops it in there. God knows what's in there. But her husband's a janitor, so hopefully he did a good job.
Listen,
I'm
Wow.
looking at that
I'm
baby's
not.
hands.
Bizarre.
Yeah. Listen, I'm not a genius or anything,
No, you're not.
but at the point
I'm
when
just joking.
no, hey,
You're
I
pretty-
know.
I'm just playing.
At the point when you feel like you got to take a dump, and this kid pops out the other hole, at what point did she realize that the thing was coming out of the wrong hole?
Yeah, right.
What?
I mean, come on now.
Maybe
Now
both
that's
of
a
them
great kind of question. Now listen,
Because at
that's
some
actually
point
keep
you're
that
like,
comment.
maybe I ain't taking a shit. Something's wrong. Yeah, I mean, come on.
that's actually
Seriously?
that's actually a really good question.
He's a janitor. He's used to scooping turds out of the toilet.
But that's a great question.
They're close together.
Who said that?
Jimmy.
Jimbo. Somebody write that in the comments.
Jimmy Whiz did. Jimmy Whiz did.
You know something. You know something. Don't hit a deer tonight, Jimmy.
Ouch.
Yeah, but that was pretty nasty. I thought that was pretty bizarre.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, it's bizarre.
It's like a sumo wrestler.
Listen, the more I start reading these stories, and I'm on this kick lately of just seeing how weird the world is, either
Oh,
from
my God.
with aliens or just how people go about their normal lives. And I'm starting to see now that I'm kind of sheltered. I'm actually more normal than I thought. So when I started thinking that things are kind of going wrong, I'm thinking, you know what? I'm fighting with Michelle over her tripping over my. Oh, that's 22 pounds.
Kentucky woman gave birth to a 22-pound baby in the McDonald's restroom. It wasn't 16. It was 22 pounds.
named
Wow.
Big Mac.
This is from the World News Daily. World News Daily. Now, we know what the World News Daily
wait.
is, but...
Not the baby.
But-
I've got to stop and ask another question.
Yeah.
Sure, buddy.
When you're talking about a baby that large
Yeah.
coming out naturally,
You have to...
That some bitch ain't stretching back. I'm sorry. It's not snapping back.
how did that just not tear everything?
Oh, I had to. Brandy
Baby-
White was her name.
Overly large babies are normally taken by C-section. Yeah. That
That would
baby
be a
is
C to
more
Z
than
section.
overly large.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And it came out in a toilet.
Like a hot dog down the hallway.
Janitor must be
Evidently.
hung like a horse.
Famous Mr. Jaden. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I don't know. But I'm starting to think if you could eat that much, if I ever took Michelle to McDonald's, Michelle, she's an eater. I'm not going to lie. She likes to eat.
I do.
If I would ever say, and she wants, I said, babe, what do you want for dinner? 6 Big Macs, 24 nuggets. I'd be like, oh, man.
Listen,
no.
it is
I could eat
not-
two,
It is
dude.
nothing for us to drive through McDonald's and get, what do we get? 12 cheeseburgers and a basket of fries.
Yeah, pretty much.
12
Oh.
cheeseburgers,
They're
Chuck.
only-
Yeah, but I mean,
they're
they-
only
these
a
little
dollar.
That's only
cheeseburgers.
6 apiece. They're only
Yeah.
little
They're
cheeseburgers.
little.
Back in my IT
They're
days.
little and they're
Turn
only
that
a
microphone just a little
dollar.
bit to the. Turn that thing. No, your microphone.
Where's
to
my
your,
microphone?
yeah,
Right in front of
there.
your face.
Yeah, yeah. Get into
Where's
that
my
mic a little
microphone?
bit.
Where's my
Where
microphone?
would you like me to turn it?
Where's my
Okay.
microphone?
No, you were talking like this. I
To the
couldn't hear you.
McRight or to the
I need a
McLeft?
mic.
What a
To the
smart ass.
McRight or
Mic,
to
mic,
the
microphone
McLeft.
checker.
Chaka Khan.
Sorry.
I
Check
love
it out.
McDonald's.
Check a comment.
You know what? I'm a Burger King guy. Has anyone tried the Impossible Burger yet? They
What
say
is
that
that?
Impossible Burger at Burger King tastes just like real meat. It's like one of
I've
the
been to
veggie.
Burger
It
King
tastes like
forever.
it tastes,
tastes like real meat.
No, it's
What the
not-
hell does that
it's
mean?
not a-
What's
it's
it
not a-
taste like?
Yeah,
Todd?
it's a veggie burger.
Yeah, it's a veggie burger.
Oh hell no!
But they say it
Yeah.
tastes just like a Whopper.
My
Where we
youngest son
heading
said that he likes it, but
Really?
yeah, that's sacrilege. I ain't even
I
trying.
know,
Well, listen,
I know.
here's the-
I
here's
need-
the-
I
See,
need-
I'm a Wendy's guy,
I do
and
like
I
that.
do too.
love that jalapeno bacon burger.
Haven't
I
tried
don't
that.
know. Dave's pretty damn expensive, man.
Yeah, but
If I'm gonna get
that
fast food, I
jalapeno-
ain't gonna pay. You
Yep.
know,
I'm
sit
sure.
down for the price.
I want a
That,
mac and
What's
cheese
that?
jalapeno
burger.
bacon burger.
What's that,
good.
Brucey?
Well, most expensive places is the Arby's.
Arby's,
Yeah, the
but
roast
Arby's
beef,
is
too.
I love me
so
some
good.
Arby's.
Man, they're curly.
You remember
fries.
when Hardee's actually used to serve roast beef sandwiches?
Yeah,
Yeah.
But the
I love
when-
it all.
Remember when
when they were
Hardee's used to
gross?
have the little grape raisin guys?
The California raisins.
California
Do you
raisins.
remember the
Oh,
other?
yeah.
Do you remember the other roast beef chain?
Racks.
Racks. I
Yes,
forgot about
there's
Racks.
the solar racks. There's a Racks
Yeah.
in Chillicothe.
Had an alligator as their.
There is
Yeah.
a Racks in Chillicothe.
there used to be a
Ohio.
Racks up
really?
at Bridgeport
Yeah.
Hill.
Isn't that
You
where
remember
Kennedy? Isn't that where Kennedy dropped the
Used to be one at
took
the
car
Wendy's
over the
in
bridge?
Fairmont.
Oh yeah.
No, that was Chappaquiddick.
Oh yeah.
Kenny Rogers Roasters.
But no, that's you know what? Now here's the genius part about what
Where was
Burger
Roy
King's doing,
Rogers?
and they
You
already
guys
have
talk too fast.
and they already have Todd fooled. They already have Todd fooled.
they
because
do.
what kind of genius would it take to say, listen, we know there's a beef shortage. If you went and bought hamburger or roast lately, you know it's crazy because of the droughts a couple years ago and they're having problems with cows, you know.
Yep.
So there's going to be this shortage on beef. So let's come up, the guys in the marketing room, just like we're doing right now, say, I tell you what, let's do this shit. Let's get a bunch of cabbage and all this stuff that Darren would normally feed his hogs and
Yeah.
pigs and goats and stuff that
I don't
we
have
throw
any
out.
hogs yet.
Okay, yeah, but you know, goats.
Yeah,
But
we're
you
gonna
would take
get you
all
For the
this stuff,
story.
all these vegetables that are easy to grow. There's no shortage of vegetables. We're going to make a hamburger out of there and tell everybody that it tastes like hamburger by putting some seasoning into it. It's going to cost us about a quarter of what the actual meat would have cost
Right.
to make a hamburger,
Right.
a quarter pounder, and they're going to believe it and they're going to like it. So when there actually is no beef
You
anymore,
can still sell it for $7.95.
and when McDonald's, you know, when their chicken McPatties or whatever the hell they're trying to sell that pass it off as meat, then all of a sudden they're having to charge $6 for a cheeseburger because there's such a shortage on meat. Burger King's already got people fooled eating their veggie burgers that sort of taste like meat.
Subliminal messages.
I know.
It's
It's
like
all a
smelling
conspiracy.
meat and eating that.
Well, that's like when you go out of the country.
Yeah, your brain thinks you're eating
meat.
I tell you what, why don't you come over here and try this meat, Jimmy, and see what you're thinking?
When you guys are done,
What's
there,
it smell like, Jim?
Are you done? You wanna-
Oh, go ahead there. Do you have something to prove?
You want to get a little closer? Like, no, I was just going to say, when you go out of the country, this is when I've been out of the country a couple times, there's Burger Kings and McDonald's.
Yeah.
In these other countries, yes. But the thing is,
Really?
when you're around the islands and you're looking, there are no cows. It's all horses everywhere. So I'm
Ship
like,
it in.
no
There's
way.
a now there's
You're eating horse burgers.
yeah, I mean, well, you know what? Now listen. Now here's the thing.
Yeah,
And again, go ahead, go ahead, Bruce.
Yeah, there are horses that raise for the human consumption.
Yeah, absolutely. No, absolutely. But here's the thing.
It's just illegal here in the United
Right.
States.
You can't.
That's why I didn't eat it any.
Yeah, because that's exactly right. It wasn't all that long ago that you couldn't butcher horses in the United States. Well, here's the problem with that I've talked to farmers that actually have horses. What do you do if you have horses? Like you have cows, they get to a certain age or they get to a certain thing, you ship them off, they get slaughtered, you sell them, boom, that's just how the cycle of life works.
Yeah.
Well, with horses, you can't do that. They sell them to people in Mexico and they take them right across the border and they butcher them all, and then they sell the meat to Europe. Japan's a really
That
big one with
freaks me
horse
out.
meat. But no, because we look at horses different than for whatever reason we
Yeah.
look at horses
Yeah,
differently.
like the domestic and when they're.
but
not.
like we treated them anything special, making all them cowboy and western
Yeah.
movies. Back
Like
when
you
we
eat
tripped
Betsy,
them.
but not hi-ho,
Well, we
silver.
tripped all their legs to make these stunts and broke all their legs and had to shoot them on the set, which I can't remember that movie. What was that movie? Somebody looked that up. The movie that's when they started coming out with all these activists in movies because they killed some ungodly amount of horses making this scene. Oh, I'm talking you'll be absolutely amazed. So then all of a sudden they started having somebody make sure the treatment. You always see the ethical treatment of animals in these movie credits anymore.
yeah.
It was because of this movie. But anyway, here's the problem: when you have a horse that's about to die, what do you do with it? Now, what do you
Let it die.
You just basically let it die and throw it over a hill. And what do you do if you're a farmer and you have horses? You can't do anything with them. So what
Ben-Hur.
do you do?
Ben Hur, check it says
Yeah.
100 horses were killed during the production 100 horses.
Is
what?
that I think there was a Western. I think there was a bigger one than that.
Oh, really?
I think so.
All right.
Most horses killed in a movie. Just put that on there. Google
Production of a movie.
that. Yeah. Oh, it's crazy. And there was this one scene, especially when the horse they jump off the cliff. You can see it, and it's a hell of a shot. It's a cowboy man.
That wasn't Butch Cassidy's son.
Yeah, I don't know. I couldn't tell you. I don't believe it was. But
Okay, I'm sorry.
it was nuts. So then all of a sudden they started this. But horses are definitely treated different.
Wow.
And
Wow. Well, I always wondered because you see McDonald's and Burger King
You remember Roy Rogers?
in other countries, but
Well,
no
in
cows.
the same, oh, absolutely. But it's the same way with dogs. In dogs in the United States, you wouldn't even think about eating a dog. Now, if you get into a country, say like Thailand, Laos, something like that,
Yeah, many Asian countries.
many because
they eat dog.
No, most certainly. And the reason,
Oh, yeah.
yeah,
do.
and the reason being because it's a lot easier to raise dogs to eat to survive than it is to raise cows when you don't have cows. You might have some water ox or something like that, but it's just a lot easier. It's like chickens. Dogs are like chickens.
Here's one, Chuck. 1939.
But in the United States,
Yeah,
they're not looking like that.
1939.
Stagecoach?
Is that what it was? Tell me about
Yeah,
it.
but it's not more than.
Ben-Hur is the
Ben-Hur's
one
the most with 100.
with with as many
It
as
says
100.
Stagecoach. You want to read this or you want me? Todd.
No, go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
Western movies often use horses during action sequences, making them the rife targets for potential animal abuse investigations. The critically beloved 1939 film Stagecoach faced several claims due to the use of controversial stunt device that has since been banned.
When they trip them.
Yeah, it says right here, Stagecoach used a device. They used wires
Wires.
attached to the horse's legs to yank their legs out from underneath them as they ran, forcing them to violently fall. The
So
device
that's when you
resulted
see
in
them people
deaths
falling off the
of
front of
several.
the
Every
horse.
single time.
Yeah.
You'll notice that
Yeah.
like the legs come down. They just
Right,
they, don't,
yeah.
like, they
right.
get shot. They always dive in the front. I mean, they
Wow.
just basically trip the horse.
I actually
But
pulled up.
they
a
don't
thing-
give a number though.
I actually pulled up a thing here. It says 10 popular movies that faced claims of animal abuse.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's what I'm looking at. Yeah.
Go ahead and give me just in a nutshell. Give me.
Heaven's Gate, 1980 movie.
Do you believe that A Hobbit, Unexpected Journey is one of those?
First Blood is one of those.
Remember what was the animal?
Is there
Pig.
even horses in it?
It says
It
by-
doesn't have to be horse. It just has to
for,
be an animal.
The Hobbit, An Unexpected Journey, a 2013 investigation into the American Humane Association practice by the Hollywood Reporter. 27 animals died on the set of The Hobbit. The creatures included sheep, goats, died of awful causes, including dehydration, exhaustion, and drowning. Despite the deaths, the American Humane Association didn't further investigate and eventually gave the movie a carefully worded seal of approval.
But that's the same thing with the Wizard of Oz. I mean, how many midgets died during the making of that thing? Probably a lot.
Hell, Pirates of the Caribbean, The Curse of the Black Pearl.
Yeah.
It was another one.
A lot of pirates died.
Life of Pi, 2012 was one.
What was what died in the Pirates of the Caribbean? Which kind of reminds me.
Pirate.
Do you ever? What kind of pirate?
Many small animals, including fish and squid, were killed after explosions were detonated in the ocean.
Because I was going to say this, and then we're going to shut this shit show down. But anyway, have you ever watched these nuclear testings that they did like in the 50s and stuff,
Yeah.
and they're out in the ocean,
Yeah.
and you see this massive. Well, you know how sound travels. They say sound travels through water. Like that's how whales and dolphins and things
Right.
talk to each other.
Echo.
Can you imagine?
You asked for that one.
So one thing you always see in these videos about like people throwing dynamite. They do all that. Well, they throw dynamite in like a pond or a lake to do that blast fishing or whatever.
Yeah.
Can you imagine when a nuclear bomb went off
Wow.
In the ocean.
in the ocean? You imagine the junk that went flying up. I mean, went right to the surface after that. The shock. I mean, I hate to think about the thousands and thousands of dolphins,
Couldn't
and
even eat
whales, and whatever.
God.
Yeah,
It would be
couldn't eat it.
nuts.
You remember
already
the
cooked.
2008 version of Speed Racer?
Okay, Speed Racer. Hell, that was just like one of the shittiest movies I've ever seen. And they had animal cruelty in it.
Yeah. Evidently, the chimpanzee actor that they had,
Yeah.
there was accusations of him being beat.
Oh man. Well, you
It's
got to
just an accusation.
But listen.
So
what
to give you an
no, what I know.
idea of how fast that sound travels through water,
Yeah.
Sound travels about 1,500 meters per second in seawater.
That's unreal. See, that's nuts. That's crazy. That's crazy. And you can imagine the shock. But, now I will have to say this in defense of the speed racer people. I'm only 48 years old, but I do know this. Dad had a monkey named Gus growing up. Believe it or not, when he was in Morgantown, he had actually a monkey named Gus. Gus got out one time, got pissed off because he was in a cage in the basement, went upstairs, shit all over the place, and threw all the plates out. Yeah, that actually truly did happen. Wow. And then occasionally you'll hear about these orangutans for whatever reason.
Is it
people
orangutan?
And people
Clyde?
It'll rip the,
Right turn,
the
Clyde.
face off of people and stuff like that.
I've heard
But
that.
anyway, to the defense of the people from Speed Racer, sometimes when monkeys are bad, you have to spank them. I mean, you have to spank the monkeys.
Spanking monkey.
You have to
is
spank a
normal
monkey.
thing.
You just have to. Just like you have to choke a chicken. If you
you
have
live on a farm, Chuck, you got to choke the chicken.
sometimes they just go out and they start eating worms out of the wrong yard. You go out there, you choke your chicken,
Choke the chicken.
Squeeze
and you
the
throw it
teats.
back in there.
Choke your chicken till the feathers fall
Milk the
off.
teats.
Yeah, milk the teats.
I guess.
Choke the
Spank the
chicken.
monkeys.
Yeah, I mean that's all farming stuff there.
is.
Yeah.
I didn't know they had monkeys on a farm.
Farming 101.
Farmer in
Monkey
the Dale.
farms. You never heard of sea monkeys?
Yeah.
Old
Monkey
McDonald.
farms?
Yeah.
Yep.
I mean,
Old
how many,
McDonald had a
how
farm.
many sea monkeys
Yeah.
died? How many sea monkeys died? How many sea monkeys died in the making of Jaws? I bet a lot.
Tons.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Guaranteed.
Bunch.
Sea monkeys.
Yeah.
McDonald.
Sea
You
monkeys.
order
Had a farm.
sea monkeys.
Yeah.
Babe, sea monkeys. Those are
the
imitation sea
male.
monkeys. There are sea
those
monkeys.
Are imitation sea
Don't you
Imitation
remember
sea
getting the barrel of monkeys?
Listen, hey, have you
what?
ever
Now
seen?
what?
Listen. Have you ever seen seahorses? Yes.
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 Yeah. So what makes you think there's no such thing as sea monkeys?
I know there's such thing as sea monkeys because I had them when I was a kid.
You had sea monkeys? Where'd you get
Yes, you get that. You
I'm
get
not
them.
talking about them like in the.
Get them in a container.
How did
Yeah,
you
you
get
get them out of
Pour 'em
space
in
rocks?
there.
You get them out of the back of a comic
Did
book.
they fix that
Yeah.
with cream or was it oral?
Oh wait.
No.
What?
She said she had sea monkeys.
Yes, you put them. You poured this packet. You pour a packet
Yeah.
in water, and
And
then you got another. It
make
was
a
like a
salve.
3-packet thing. In fact, I'm getting them this year for Christmas because I miss them so
Chuck.
much. And then
Spread them
you.
to Chuck.
I don't want any monkeys in this house. I cut off the cats.
There's sea monkeys, and then you have another
don't have any
bag that's
salt
their
water.
We
food.
don't live near the sea.
And you sprinkle a little bit in there, and you wait like 7 or 10 days, and the next thing you know, you get to see them floating around. It even comes with a little like a little magnifying
I think that's
glass.
mosquito larvae.
Yeah. Yeah, and then you starve them to death because you
That's
ran
right.
out of food.
Because now all of a sudden I have
Yeah,
to go
well,
get
that's
some.
a problem. So they die, and then you have to hoard
And
away
then
a
there's an
whole new
investigation
set.
into animal cruelty.
No kidding. Because imagine this. Imagine
Yeah,
me
is going to be here.
Imagine me getting a cup of Lumberport water, putting sea salt in it because sea monkeys are going to have to live in salt water.
gotta be salt water.
And you're going to put them
Not
little sea
necessarily.
monkeys in there, and they're going to be looking for bananas. And they're not going to find nothing but
What did
Lumberport
I tell
chlorine.
you?
You got to be careful with that dead sea salt, though. It'll kill them right now.
What did I tell you? I wanted to get Rogan for Christmas this year.
Sea monkeys.
You were going to say Jimmy was going to say calamari. Yeah, that's exactly what you were going to say. Sea monkeys. You said
Yes,
sea monkeys.
I have been talking about that for months.
Well, you know what? This is the year. This is your
Do it.
year.
This is my
Get
year.
him
This is your
some sea-
year.
Barrel of monkeys.
Barrel monkeys.
Those things are great, man. Curious George and all that. The barrel. Roll out the barrel.
We'll have a barrel of
Roll out the barrel
fun.
of fun.
Roll.
Brucey, did you ever have a barrel of monkeys over in Japan when you were growing up? It's just literally a barrel
It's a
full
toy.
of monkeys. Then you would have their arms up and you would make
Oh,
these big
yeah,
chains.
like a puzzles.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah.
This and they
yeah.
hang on
They
to
just-
shit.
Yeah, they
Yeah.
hook each other together.
That was good times.
Yep. And occasionally, like I said, you know what? Now, if you didn't spanking didn't cure it, you had to shock them.
Yeah.
Jay,
You had to shock the monkey.
Jay McCord said,
Yeah.
gone in 60 seconds killed a lot of horsepower.
Yeah, no kidding. See, that's what I mean. See, I wonder if
Shock the monkey.
Shock
Isn't
the
that a song?
monkey.
Yep.
Yeah.
Peter
Yeah.
Gabriel.
That's a song, yeah.
Shock the Monkey
Beat the
was
Monkey.
Peter Gabriel.
Yeah.
Yes.
You know who he originally sang for? Genesis.
Yes.
He did?
Before Phil
Actually,
Collins.
yes.
Phil Collins was the drummer, and then Phil Collins moved up.
Yep.
Who originally spanked the monkey?
Oh man,
Elton
probably.
John.
Probably, I don't know.
He's Elton John.
Elton John spanked a monkey. He's got little tiny monkey hands.
He's great on the piano, but he sucks on the organ.
That's a good one, dude.
Great on the piano, but
Please
sucks
tell-
on the organ.
Please tell me you just made that up.
No, you didn't make that up.
Daggone it,
Jimmy's
man.
not that smart. But anyway, on that note, now that we're talking about
We're at
sucking
1
off-
hour and 9 minutes.
Okay, well, we're going to shut
Yeah,
this
we
thing
got
down.
time.
And I don't know what's going on with the beginning of it. Right? We might just...
We have all
We'll
night,
try-
boys. What are you talking about?
We're going to try...
Where you got to go?
We're going to try taking that YouTube stuff off. This might be the last episode of YouTube. So if you're a YouTube
Man.
follower, but strangely enough, that's our
Well,
bigger
that's kinda
audience.
sad.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But we get the we don't
Fix
know.
it, Rogan.
We've been saying that for
Fix it.
years, actually, that we were actually going to get
Redo
on
it.
YouTube and play with that a little bit, but we never do.
What you
How
play
about
with?
let's just take some
Occasionally
updated
Darren might,
pictures and redo it.
but
Do what you got to do.
redo it. But I don't know what the hell's going on with that. And that pisses me off beyond
Yeah.
belief. It
Yeah.
pisses me off because we've never had that problem, and all of a sudden it's going back to something stupid.
Yeah.
Stupid. I don't
Yeah.
know what's going on with it. So
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
you know
Yeah.
what?
Agree.
The only thing that you didn't
Yeah.
do tonight was give me a slurp in the ear, and you know what? I'm very appreciative of that.
You got a slurp in the ear?
Jimmy does that every week.
Yeah.
Really?
All right. So anyway, we'll be
Slobbing,
back next
mid-nobbing.
week. We're going to be back on the wintertime schedule unless something comes up, and we won't be here. So it's either one or the other. It's a crapshoot.
And we're still on the air.
It's a
Sometimes we're
crapshoot.
here and sometimes we're not.
Right there it is, misophonia.
You shouldn't have reminded me.
Damn.
Pretty good,
That's
Chuck.
fine. He was making fun of my OCD earlier this
Yeah,
week.
see.
Oh, now listen. I'm going to tell you this little story about Chad. Chad's got a serious problem of OCD. I can't even spell OCD, but Chad's got a real problem with it.
Really?
Yeah, oh yeah. So anyway, we had in the morning there was this. I can't tell you the procedure because I'd have to kill you because we work for the Department of Homeland Security, and hereby funded by Congress. We are actually under. Actually, we are under DHS if you can believe that. Are you guys under DHS? No. Are you guys? Yeah, you were under
mine
DHS. Yeah. No, mine.
I'm
yeah.
retired.
So anyway, regardless. So what happened was they had in the morning now they have some carriers come in earlier and they go ahead and relieve some
Aircraft
because the package, the big time aircraft carriers like the Roosevelt and Kitty Hawk and all that stuff forced them. So anyway, they you have all of this overflow the packages now because we're getting into the holiday season. They have carriers come in the morning to kind of relieve some of the stress of all these packages so the regulars on the route don't have to do it. So okay, they can get back on time.
God bless
Some relief on my pack.
So anyway, there are seven hampers full of parcels.
8.
Okay, see what I mean? There's 8.
OCD.
There's 8, and each one has a label on them. Right now, there are 8 out of I don't know how many hampers are in that place. Probably 50 or 60, probably, maybe somewhere in there.
Look at me. Look at the.
There's 8.
46.
There's
Motherfucker. Sorry.
Wasn't me this time, but
That just came.
yeah,
Gee.
wasn't
You're
me.
going stupid.
Hold on, it was late.
Thank goodness it wasn't
We're listening to
Christmas.
this actor.
All right, so anyway, we have 8 hampers out of 46, or eight people. Normally there are 46. We have 8 people coming in like at 6:30 or something.
Actually, we only got 3 people coming in, but they're splitting 8 hampers. But go ahead.
Okay, so we got 3 people coming in. Okay, so then each one are labeled. So I'm pushing them out. Chad said, "Well, you got to put this number 3 next to this one and number 7 over here." I was like, "Chad, there's only 8 hampers. They can just go in and read the placard that's on the front. Why don't we just wheel them out there?" No. We got to put this there. We got to put the number 7 right here and number 6 right here. We got to count this down and all this
So
stuff.
monotone.
So I'm like, dude, you are out of control. You have OCD. There's only 8 hampers. They can go in and they say, Mr. Rogan, you have 1, 2, and 3. I was like, oh, there's 1, there's 2, and there's 3. Okay, pretty easy, relatively, I would think.
Not.
But for Chad, now here's the strange thing about it, though. So then I look, I come back in being a smartass after this point.
Hell yeah, you do.
So I'm like, oh, no, man, this is not going to work. This is not going to work. He's looking at me like I'm stupid. I said, because on this side, see, because they're split, the center is actually like on a timeline, like plus and the negatives, the positive and negatives. The middle one, on this side, these 4 hampers count down. So you have we'll just say 4, 3, 2, 1. Mm-hmm. On this side, they say 4, 3, 2, 1, so the 0 is here. They're different routes. Like, no. See, now you're screwed up. Now you're going to mess them all up because it has to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Highest number on this particular route's highest number with the lowest number on this one. I said, yeah, you messed the whole thing up. I said, Mr. OCD.
See, the bad part about it is what he didn't realize was the beginning of this number, one of them started with an O, the other one started with an F. So
See?
you go from the center and you work your way out.
Regardless, I'm sure you had plenty of time to fix that for me.
Oh, listen, I went in there. I didn't even change the hampers. I left it. Listen, I would never do that to Chad. I let the
No,
hampers.
Sure you
he
would.
left the
I-
hampers where they were at, but just changed the
I
placards.
just taped the name tags.
Oh, no, you didn't. You can't change the placards.
I would. That would be awesome. All right. D-Mac wasn't able to make it tonight. I believe he was cleaning out the pool finally. It started getting cold enough because he likes to go out.
Closing down the pool.
The McIntyre pool, so he's doing that. And then Cuddles, I'm not sure where Cuddles is this
We
week.
haven't seen Cuddles.
He said the last time I talked to him, he was doing that. He was trying to
Is
do
he
that.
still alive?
Yeah, but he was going.
He's
Yeah.
online. That's
He
it.
was going. He was doing that hike up at Mount Washington there in New Hampshire.
But I think
Something-
he's back in the Keys.
Is he back down there now?
I think he's like running some charter boat down there.
Guy's nuts.
Wow.
What a
I
life.
know.
What
That's
a
what
life.
I've heard.
So on behalf of Chad Puccio from Monongah over there from Webster Springs, Miss Woodchopper herself, the lovely and talented Michelle Rogan. Down on the director's seat, we have D. We also like to call him Darren Hartman. Straight from
F-bomber.
Tokyo, Japan, we got Bruce Takahashi.
Brucey.
And he also had a barrel full of monkeys, barrel full of fun back there. Straight from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, still kind of upset that Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer kind of threw another game for the Steelers. Listen, it is what it is. Steelers suck
That
this
was
year.
something
Sorry.
we could have talked about because that is blowing up on
Listen,
social media, dude.
Let me tell you something. The thing about that is Rudolph, but here's the
With
thing.
your nose so bright.
Rudolph, I mean, I can see how, because football's football, but Rudolph, if it started with maybe a late hit and they were getting kind of rough on the ground. But then Rudolph kind of twisted Garrett's hat and helmet off, and then it all exploded after that. Then
Hey, that was some Lau Zeta
Oh, it
stuff
was,
right there.
you know.
Stuff.
I'm telling you, I
that
loved
took
it.
you right back to the 80s
that
and
back
70s.
70s.
Oh, throwing
Yeah,
helmets
late
and just
70s
punching. They were
football.
just beating the hell out of each other.
Oh, speaking
But,
of devil, Mark Coffey
Mark
just
Coffey
signed
just
on.
joined.
Cuddles.
Oh,
Fine.
wow.
Jimmy Whiz
In his
from
pants.
Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, and the best guy for him. He likes Mandalorian. He's Chewbacca.
Oh, yeah,
best man
yeah.
at the wedding.
He's my best friend.
31.
We'll have to talk about Mandalorian next week.
Man, yeah, we will. Have to
Yeah,
do
we will.
that.
We will.
Captain Todd Earl Beck, ladies and gentlemen, thanks for listening to Rogan Radio.
Later.
Bye.